Hi, my name's Andrew. Thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at an investor sourcing case study that I recently did for a client in the health and med tech sector. So this database provides direct insights into the 2022 to 2025 global funds and fund managers actively raising and deploying capital, giving deal makers a clear path to the right investors at the right time. To be clear, this is the who's who of global capital and fundraising in the health and med tech sector. So this is an institutional investor database. So I'm introducing a rare database of institutional grade investors to my clients, and it's sourced from my exclusive database of over 400,000 global capital professionals. So for the first time ever, this powerful resource is available to help you access capital like never before. And now just a little bit about me. I'm Andrew, a fundraising consultant and capital sourcing advisor with 15 years of experience in high-value real estate and investment advisory roles across Canada, Dubai, and the Caribbean. Simply put, I help clients navigate fundraising with clarity, strategy, and targeted outreach. Now, over the past 3 years on Fiverr, I've assisted over 300 clients from tech startups to real estate groups with fundraising strategy, pitch deck refinement, investor outreach, and custom investor databases tailored to their sector, stage, and capital needs. And currently, I'm advising a US-based real estate group on a $50 million equity raise, coordinating strategy and outreach to investment banks, family investment offices, and private equity partners. And on the right-hand side, you can see a few of my Fiverr gigs. You get more information on my services by clicking the Fiverr link below. So this is an actual case study for a health and medtech client recently reached out to me. Now, this video highlights an actual walkthrough I created for one of my clients explaining the process of selecting the right investor database for their health medtech startup. Now, it's not always as easy as that because it's actual AI, it has healthcare, it has medtech, it's digital tech. There's 5 or 6 different categories. They wanted venture capital. I'm going to show you all this coming up in a bit when we get to the spreadsheets, but the purpose of the video is to demonstrate that database targeting is a complex structured procedure and not just a matter of entering 1 or 2 keywords. And another thing is you cannot scrape the database for this type of the internet for this type of database. So don't believe anybody who offers you that particular type of service. So when working with an institutional grade database, effective screening requires thoughtful filtering, strategic prioritization, and a clear understanding of investor focus areas. So let's take a look at the database and the video that I actually sent her so she could understand the process. Very quickly, a key database disclosure. Now, my extensive database library provides hundreds of thousands of global contacts, typically including profiles, emails, and websites, though not all details are complete. So primarily compiled and updated from 2021 to 2025, with most updates in the last 2 years. This corporate resource may include contacts whose roles have since changed. It's designed as an excellent starting point for outreach. It's best leveraged and continually refined by organizations with dedicated data teams. Clearly, this is not a database that you're going to spam, right? This is a database that you're going to use to drill down to the best targets who are ready to deploy capital in your sector. This database comprises a blend of individuals and companies, each with distinct investment criteria and operating condition. So there's no guarantee your approach will be favorably received. Note, this database is available to corporate or institutional grade groups only, no personal sales. I put together this video to give you a bit of an idea of my view on what you're looking for database-wise, and to also start off by saying it's not quite as easy as you think in regard to the categories of how you've got them listed. For example, based on your note, you're in healthcare, you're in health tech, you're in AI, you're in med tech, you're in tech, you're in venture capital, you're looking for family office, angel investors, funds, seed stage, country. So you can see it's quite wide. You can't just generally filter one database to get that. That would be like you trying to find on an app a vegan Moroccan restaurant in Paris that's open at midnight and has an outdoor cafe patio. I mean, see, it's a little more difficult. So let me try to narrow this down and make this a little bit easier for you to handle. And just a quick word about the sources of my databases. First of all, they're institutional grade. They are not scraped from the web. Do not believe anybody who says, oh, I can scrape the database, I can write a program and scrape it from the web. It's impossible. Most of the names and the emails of the contacts that I have are not on the web. If you ever go to a website and you see senior people, a lot of times they'll just have their bio How do you find them? Well, you got to have a database like this, and they keep these databases usually well protected. They're very expensive, and they're only usually purchased by private equity groups, venture capital, investment banks, investment firms. I have one because I have an association with them. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars every year for these type of databases. So these, again, they're what the pros use, and they're not for the general public. Okay, just quickly, I'm going to show you the 4 databases that you should really be looking at. I'm going to make it really clear at the beginning. The Middle East, I don't think, is the best target for you because that database actually is very wide. It's not going to really help you. They have a great healthcare industry, healthcare city, all that sort of stuff, but I don't think it should be your main target. So I'm going to look at 4 that you should take a look at. Family investment offices, and we're going to look at healthcare screening. A fundraising database, again, that I've used healthcare as a screen, master database that I have as a healthcare screen, and the first one, this is the one that I really think you should take a look at, is the USA 2025 Ultimate Seed Investor Database, and then you can be able to narrow down what you're taking a look at. Okay, this is the Family Investment Office database for the United States. It has been updated as of 2025, but I want to make sure you understand no database is perfect. I could update this database today, and 1 month, 3 people from that firm could leave. The firm could close down. There's all kinds of things that could happen, but it's reasonably well filtered. Now, here's one thing about this database is you still have to go through the work of clicking to find out whether they will like your particular venture. One of the things is because you saw all the things that could be filtered under your AI, your healthcare, your med tech, your number of things that may resonate with some of these groups because they do change their investment the criteria from time to time. But you're basically going to be able to get a bit of an overview, the investment focus, what sector, mature businesses, startups, that's stuff that you're going to have to do the filtering. But in this particular family investment office, there's about 690 contacts. Again, this is a USA focus. This would be one that you might want to take a look at. Okay, now here's another database. This is a global fund database, and I've, for example, you see there's 2,400 contacts, and you can see that I've got healthcare screen. That means I've screened and just used one word, healthcare. By the way, when you do that, you're also eliminating tech. You're eliminating AI, so you see how you can end up getting your filter far too small. But if I just use healthcare, you can see here, I think we have around 600 or so that had, yeah, we have 636. And then again, you would reach out to these groups and say, listen, are you looking particularly, for example, HMC Capital, investment firm providing private equity and direct investments across sectors, including industrials, healthcare, technology. So you got 3 of them right in there, just in that one. Then you would reach out to them and say, listen, we're starting up, we have this great startup, we're doing an MVP, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to know if you'd be interested in having a conversation about it. When you reach out to people right now, you're not looking to raise funds. You're looking to make contacts for later raising, okay? So just keep that in mind. But that's a good list that I would take a look at. Recently updated, and again, these are institutional grade. You cannot find anybody on any of the lists that I have that can be scraped off the net. In fact, the lists that I have almost always are lists that you're not going to find somebody else on Fiverr, because what they do on Fiverr is they scrape the web, they pick up the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I wouldn't recommend dealing with those type of people unless you ask them, you know, are you working in the fundraising business? And it takes about 1 minute to understand their proficiency in this particular sector. So that's why I'm hoping these videos help. So that's the second list. This is probably the most valuable database for anybody that's raising capital. Because it has all the funds that have already been raising capital or have raised capital or are deploying capital. So it's the institutional grade database for that. You can see in the bottom left hand corner we've got 99,211. So these are all funds globally. In other words, this is groups that have already raised capital in most cases. And I'm going to go through this because this is a really valuable database for people in your position who may be ready or may be ready in 6 months or 9 months to really start to fundraise. So what we need to do, because this goes all the way back to 2007, I've taken it and I've screened it down to 2022 to 2025. And then why have I done that? Well, because the reality is these are the years where the capital is ready now and it's probably being deployed, and it will be deployed till about 2008. Then I narrow that list down because it ended up being around 20 or 13,000. So we went from 99 to 13,000, and then I did a screen here. This is all the ones that had health in their background. And this one here, just the top, just happened to show up. Look at this. 2048 Ventures 2 is a venture capital fund that invests in pre-seed stages in technology companies across the US and Canada that fund targets biotechnology, digital health, AI, ML. That's just one. I mean, if I could just go randomly, go up here. This is global, by the way. And if I could do this one here, this one supports early stage fintech healthcare in India. So again, you can see there'd be more filtering that we need to do. So this is a very valuable database. Up at the top, we've got the background, the inception year, asset class, so is it venture capital or private equity? Venture capital is more likely to go after something like what you have. Private equity tends to like to see groups that have already started to raise capital. And then here you can see the early stage, buyout, healthcare. So this would need more filtering because I've only used the one word, health. Because once we go broader than health, then you can pick up more. For example, here you can see healthcare, medical devices, equipment. This is just random. Let's just go to the very top here, make it a little bit easier. So any of these that I press already has some sort of healthcare. Health has to be in this somewhere. In most cases. Now, by the way, the reason some of them might say real estate is it could be healthcare, but we invest in real estate assets related to it. So you would still need to do more fine tuning, but this is the creme de la creme for those particular cases. And then let's go to contacts. So this is contacts. This is 412,000 contacts. Now, generally what I would do in a case like someone like yours, I would say, well, if you're going to focus on Europe and the US, which I would start in the first place for you, then I would sort of get rid of all the other contacts that really don't matter and then focus in on them. But that's the other database, and I think this is probably the most valuable database for you to make connections for people who are eventually going to raise capital for you because they've already got the capital raised. Okay, and lastly, this is the U.S. Venture Capital and Angel Group Investor Seed Database. Angel groups are just firms, venture capital firms that have a group of individual angels as part of their group. It could be 10, 50, 100, sometimes they're 200, and they allow founders like yourself to pitch your project. So this is what I call the go-to database for people that are looking to raise under $1 million because it's US, it's venture capital, they're reasonably well established. You can see the number of investments in this list here. They've funded over 35,000 firms. So again, another great database to reach out to. A lot of these are either online registrations or info at, contact at, so that you're not getting the key party. But a little secret is you can punch in this name, for example, of that group into the other master database that I have, and you'll probably end up getting the name of somebody at that firm that you can't find online. So that's why none of these single databases are going to be the magic pill for you. But this is a particularly good one. This is the one that I have on my Fiverr profile for $95 because it's off the shelf. It's been refined. It's probably about 98% accurate. You can see it's got the different sectors, tech, software, technology. You've got healthcare. So again, you do have to do a little bit of work and targeting. But the best time to start actually contacting groups to raise capital is well before you need it. These are people that you want to make connections with. You want to give them a little bit of a pitch. You don't send your pitch deck, but just say what you're doing in the industry and some of your success. And that's something that's really important. By the way, I noticed in your note to me, you've already got one fatal flaw that's going to really hurt you as far as the way you're going to be able to pitch. If you need help doing your pitch deck, send it to me and I can point those out. Maybe I can do a review for you. But those are the databases. I hope it makes really clear as what you need to do when you're starting to do the filtering. Again, it's not something as easy as just punching in a few keywords. So what's next for this client? Well, over the past 3 years, I found that nearly 80% of the pitch decks I receive are not in a form that can be presented to investors, and I've received well over 600 of them. Now, based on just one sentence she shared with me in the copy in our chat about her startup, I can already tell, even without reviewing the full deck, in fact, I haven't even seen the deck, that her pitch will require a comprehensive review. Just one sentence. And that's a good thing for her or any other client, because before you give your draft to the artist or the designer, you have to get the copy done first. Don't worry about the design. Don't worry about the pretty pictures and how it's laid out. That's something that I can do either on a pitch deck review or a full pitch deck rewrite. So this is the next step for her. And then once she's done with that, then it's really easy for her to start to go out to clients, because some of my pitch deck reviews, depending on if it's a standard or a deluxe one, are going to give her a lot of tips for that. Now, just remember that it's always important to make sure that the pitch deck and the business plan are very much aligned. So you can contact me for more information on those. For more information on my databases and fundraising services, click my Fiverr link below. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.